Peter, let me say welcome.
Thank you.
You are a Calypsonian,
That's correct.
but your Christmas tune is in reggae.
That's
Why the
correct.
change?
Well, I try to diversify my talents and try to explore other avenues so as not to confine myself to one art form. Try to broaden my horizons as best I can. And part of the influence has to do with the fact that along with being a Calypsonian, I also play with a band, a reggae band predominantly, so I think I was influenced somewhat by that also.
Yeah, I know you were involved in that group in Washington, Oasis.
That is correct.
And you have some people from other Caribbean countries. I know a very good Vincentian guy you have there.
That's right.
You said it was a big influence in them trying to get you to make that Christmas tune.
Yes.
Are you satisfied with the product?
I am very satisfied. Of course, there are always room for improvement, but pretty much I'm very satisfied. The response has been very good from the sales and so forth.
Okay, great. So you think the timing has been great?
The timing has been excellent, I should say.
Would you be distributing to the Caribbean?
Most definitely. We already have certain programs in the works, and we're waiting to see what the results are.
People have been seeing you on TV over the past months now. Peter Humphrey singing Calypso.
Yes.
Grenadian from Birch Grove.
Correct.
And you have been in the music business for some time now.
Yes. I would say almost from childhood. As a little guy around 10, we had these little local talent programs like similar to Anti-K, and I used to be participating in that. Plus, I came from a family background where there were lots of singers.
Yeah, I know, Unlucky.
Unlucky.
Who's now Lucky?
Lucky, yes.
That's your brother?
That's Lucky, yeah.
Okay. Was he unlucky to be a brother? That's why
No. Very good question, but it didn't work out that way.
Peter, you, in my estimation, I think you're blessed in having a very beautiful voice. Your singing range
Well, thank you.
Is very good. Is it something you work on, or do you think it's
Most
a natural
definitely.
gift you have?
Some of it is natural, but you still have to work on it to get the fine points, to fine tune it. And just like any special thing, you have to take care of it. And you have to get the best out of it. So what you do is you have to be practicing regularly and trying different ways to improve for improvement.
What shows do you have coming up for the Christmas so that you can propagate your Christmas tune?
Well, right now we're talking to some promoters in New York. I hope to be back here sometime very soon, maybe in the next week or so. And we also have PC Productions. That's the label under which I come. We're planning a New Year's Eve party at one of the biggest clubs in Washington, D.C., the Kilimanjaro. So we're working on some things.
What is the Grenadian response like in Washington to its indigenous music?
Very impressive. I mean, I was sort of taken aback to see the response. Not that I was overly surprised, but the Washington crowd has been predominantly, conservative, and they've been taking quite an interest in the art form.
Christmas is indeed a special time. I remember talking to Dan Simon and I asked him the same question which I'm going to ask you right now. Why do you think that most Caribbean artists do not really capitalize on the opportunity to compose at Christmas time?
I think they do compose, but the avenues and outlets previously have been limited. But now you have shows like the Gentle Blend Productions having CultureShare. You have more promoters getting interested. Artists have managers. The Grenada Carnival Association has been taking, more interest in the art form. So as towards the other islands, they're doing the same thing. So I think it has a growing interest in the culture has elevated to a point where now, they're able to do things like that.
Let me take this opportunity to also talk about your album you made for
Right.
Carnival.
Right.
The tunes like The Extra Leg,
The Extra
my
Leg.
personal favorite.
Mine too.
It's a great album.
Thank you.
Were you satisfied that everything went according to plan?
Yes, I was satisfied. One of the problems that young artists face when they're trying to get out on the professional scene is promotions and, not knowing certain avenues and directions. So the only setback I felt that I always want to reach as wide an audience as I can. And unfortunately, circumstances, finances, and so forth does not allow my song to reach out as far as I want to. But I hope sometime in the future that would materialize.
There's a big Grenadian market in Toronto
Right.
and Montreal.
Right.
Have you explored there as yet?
Yes, that has been covered. In fact, I had a show there last month in Toronto, and I have a brother in Montreal who's taking care of things there for me, and also my brother Lucky in England. But I still would like to hit like the bigger European markets. The New York market, there's still work to be done, and the other Caribbean islands other than Grenada, there's still work to be done there. So what I would say is I just have to keep pounding on the wall. Sooner or later, doors are going to open, and hopefully I'll be there and ready.
Do you take yourself seriously as an artist?
Definitely.
What is a day in the life of Peter Humphrey, the artist, like?
A day in the life of Peter Humphrey, the artist, is after taking care of basic everyday chores. I go to the basement. I have a 4-track recording studio, and I start working with the other guys in the band, and we start working on different materials, listening to tapes, comparing with other artists, and look for ways we can improve musically, show-wise, because you can have a good song, but if you don't have a good stage appearance, that can do harm. So you have to look at every avenue. So every day I would go there and work on ways I can improve myself, network with other people. Like I'd be calling, make long distance calls to New York, Canada, so forth, find out how I can get things going, who I can talk to, how to go about different things. In fact, at this moment I would like to show special respect to Mr. Derek Ventu, who has been very instrumental in giving me advice and putting me on the right track and so forth. And notwithstanding, giving credit to the members of the band and my manager, Mr. Alvin Phillip, my producer, Mr. Martin Caliste. They've been very supportive, and those are the ones that we network and we try and see how much we can get this thing going, because right now I consider it a career.
I've been speaking to some people, some other Calypsonians from the various countries. One of the comments I hear always coming up is that Grenadian Calypsonians seem to have a diction problem. Do you support this comment?
Okay, can you elaborate?
Diction in the sense that they have a problem.
The speech.
Yes.
Okay.
In the way they sing sometimes.
Yes, yes.
The pronunciation, the way they come across.
In fact, on that note, I don't want to give self-praises, but I have been given a lot of commendation on my particular diction as being a Grenadian, but I do think it's a problem, because if you want to reach out to a wider audience, they have to understand what you're saying and they have to be able to identify with it. And so I do agree to a certain extent, but it can go both ways, because some people are enthused and they're fascinated by a certain accent and others may not. So what I would recommend is sort of a mix it up, so you can reach the people who like it and the people who don't like it. You can also captivate them.
And if I go down to Washington for Christmas and I come to your house, what can I expect to see on your table?
The way the recession and the economy is, you may not see anything.
Not even a hand?
Just a joke.
Peter, let me say thank you much for being on CultureShare. It was great having you. All right?
And I thank you for giving me
Keep on doing
the
what you're doing.
opportunity. Thank you.
You're doing it good.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
All right.